Hi, I'm Graham and welcome back to Man vs. Film. This is going to be a top 10 of movies that you can watch right now on Netflix UK for the month of December 2019. So let's just jump straight in to these 10 fantastic movies. Number 10, Bad Santa 2. 13 years after the first film, Willie Soak remains depressed as ever. Upset his happy ending did not pan out and he is again addicted to sex and alcohol. As he tries and fails to kill himself, he is visited by Thurman, who's just turned 21 and works at a sandwich shop. Unfortunately, Thurman's father has abandoned him and his grandmother, making Willie the closest thing he has to family. It was always going to be hard to capture the magic of the original Bad Santa. It was a mean-spirited piece of Christmas entertainment, the kind of Christmas entertainment that I gravitate towards. Now, I wasn't enamoured with the second one. I thought it was fine, but going back to it again is something I've enjoyed more. These kind of Christmas movies are never fantastic, but at this time of year, I want a little bit of mean-spirited Christmas etiquette, and this delivers for me. Number 9, Reservoir Dogs. A gang of thieves carry out an armed robbery on a diamond warehouse. The police are after them so quickly that they suspect they have a rat in their company. This film starts right before the robbery with flashbacks to before the robbery and to the planning of the crime. Quentin Tarantino's stunning debut has lost none of his impact over the years. It's still a terrifically put together piece of genre cinema that really marked a stamp and is something that he has built on throughout the decades since. I still like to go back to Reservoir Dogs and just marvel at the nature of how they made something so fantastic like this. It's so tightly put together, full of engaging characters, amazing soundtracks, and just a wonderful movie. If you've not seen it, or you've not seen it in a while, maybe it's time to go back to it. Number 8, Shimmer Lake. An inventive crime thriller told backwards, reversing day by day throughout a week, following a local sheriff's quest to unlock the mystery of 3 small-town criminals and a bank heist gone wrong. This was a Netflix original movie that seems to have just gotten lost in amongst the mix. Rainn Wilson stars in this one, and it's really neatly and fun told. The way it starts at the end of the week, going back to the start to reveal the crime at hand and why everybody is at various loggerheads. And I really do like the way the story's told, having to juggle all these pieces, slowly drip feeding and reversing the story and giving us reveals each day is marvellously well done. And it's one of those movies that just, like I said, faded into the background. Nobody talks about it, nobody mentions it, which is a real shame. Number 7, Inside Man. Composed and meticulous, the soft-spoken and ingenious bank robber Dalton Russell has orchestrated the perfect heist. Shortly, the Manhattan Bank at the corner of Wall Street and Broadway, along with dozens of hostages, will be to his command. Try as he might, the rough hostage negotiator Keith Fraser is always one step behind the criminal mastermind. This is probably Spike Lee's most commercial movie, and it's fantastic entertainment. It delivers on almost every front. We get Clive Owen as the bad guy, we get Denzel Washington as the good guy. We have a battle of wits between these two people that, just goes in unexpected ways and turns. You get some other interesting reveals and moments throughout the movie, and it's really a fun heist movie at the heart of the movie with great performances, terrific direction, and just a crowd-pleasing piece of entertainment. Number 6, Creep 2. Sarah is a video artist whose work primarily explores the intimacy of lonely men. One online advert intrigues her so much she replies, thinking she may have found the subject for her next project. She drives to a secluded house in the forest where a man claiming to be the advert's poster greets her, and as he said in the posting, he claims to be a serial killer. Unable to resist the chance to create a truly shocking piece of art, she agrees to spend the day with him. But as the day progresses, she realises she might have put herself into a position of which she cannot escape. I loved Creep. It was one of those movies that just kind of pulled the rug out from under your feet. You were expecting one thing, and to a certain extent you got it. but it just got better and better. And with Creep 2, I really feel as if they built upon that aesthetic, the idea of the original, and made it exponentially better in this version. You get two captivating performances. You get a continuation of sorts of the story from the first one. You get awkward situations. You get the harsh reality of what is actually happening, and the threatening nature of the movie has genuine thrills and scares abound. I can't wait for part 3 of this. Number 5, Layer Cake. An unnamed British cocaine dealer treats his work as a business and neither believes he is or acts like a gangster. He respects those with whom he works, and in return they respect him. In treating his work like a business, he has amassed a small fortune of laundered money, and despite his relatively young age, he plans on retiring soon. If it wasn't for Jimmy Price, who asks him for one small favour. Matthew Vaughn directs this movie, Daniel Craig stars, and this was primarily the role that got him the James Bond gig. And I think it's probably better than most of those movies. It is the London Underground, as we've seen done before, but it's done really well here with a story of a character who is put into a situation that just starts to go down a rabbit hole of twists and turns and things that he can't handle or deal with, and things just get out of hand. I'd love to tell you parts about it, but it's incredibly funny. It has moments of heists, it has double crosses, it has a tremendous performance from Craig in the lead role, and that is fantastic. Number 4, Earthquake Bird. In 1989 Tokyo, Lucy Fly, an enigmatic expat haunted by the painful past, enters into an intense relationship with Teji, a handsome yet similarly troubled local photographer. Lucy's exterior begins to crack when a naive newcomer, Lily, becomes entangled in their lives and ends up missing, suspected dead. This is another movie that's told in flashback mode. We have our main character who is being interrogated by the Japanese police about the disappearance of her friend, and it basically flashes back to when she meets Tenji, the relationship that builds from there, as well as the instigation of this naive youngster who comes into it and just, well, three's a crowd, as we've heard before, and things just twist and turn, and we kind of know at the start that the girl is missing, presumed dead, and she may have had something to do with it. Tenji may have something to do with it, but throughout the movie we're going to see the dynamics between the group, what happened to them, and ultimately a fairly decent conclusion. It feels a little bit as if it's riding the crest of, say, Gone Girl or the Girl on the Train, but it's not as good as either of those kind of movies. It's an interesting one-time watch, and that's about it. Number 3, Fire in Paradise. On the 8th of November 2018, a fire broke out in California near the town of Paradise. Over the course of a few hours, the campfire grew into the country's deadliest wildfire in over a century. Through first-hand footage of the disaster, interviews with the survivors and responders, Fire in Paradise retells the survivors' stories from that day. This is a fairly short documentary, just under an hour, and it is fascinating. I couldn't believe what I was watching. In this short period of time, I wanted more. You start to hear the story of this fire, and it feels typical in the way it's telling a documentarian story, but then it starts to give you the first-hand footage of what actually happened, and it is shocking, really terrifying, the insane amount of fire that just spread so quickly, how things escalated into worse situations, how people were lucky to survive this horrendous disaster. It was something that I couldn't take my eyes off, and I felt emotionally invested in some of the characters. I could have done with more stories of the survivors. I could have done with a piece of longer documentarian stuff to really highlight everything about it, but in its truncated form, it still packs a punch. Number 2, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. In a brand new Jumanji adventure, 4 high school kids discover an old video game console and are drawn into the game's jungle settings, literally becoming the adult avatars they chose. What they discover is that you don't just play Jumanji, you have to survive it. To beat the game and return to the real world, they'll have to go on the most dangerous adventure of their lives. Jumanji was a real surprise for me, something that I just wasn't expecting. It's a kind of reboot, remake on the original, and it has no way should it be as good as it is. I love the fact of these teenagers who all have their distinct personalities go into the game, and their avatars completely contradict everything about them, and they have to learn to become better people throughout it. It's got tremendous action set pieces, it's got ridiculously fun moments, and I think it's got one of the best performances from Jack Black that I've seen in years. As always, The Rock's terrific. And this is just a fantastic movie. And as the sequel's coming out soon, I thought, why not check out the first one? It's a great movie, a great family film. Number 1, The Irishman. Frank the Irishman Sheeran is a man with a lot in his mind. The former Labour Union high official and hitman learned to kill serving in Italy during the Second World War. He now looks back on his life and the hits that defined his mob career, maintaining connections with the Buffalino crime family, in particular the part he claims to have played in the disappearance of the lifelong friend Jimmy Hoffa, the former president of the inaugural Brotherhood of Teamsters, who mysteriously vanished in late July 1975 at the age of 62. I have been eagerly awaiting Martin Scorsese's latest movie because it brings De Niro and Pacino together once more, because it has Joe Pesci back in an acting role for the first time since 2010, and it delivers. It is fantastic. Its 3.5 hour running time zips by. You are captivated the full way through, watching these characters just live their life, tell their tales, being stuck in this underworld of crime. It's just captivating. De Niro is the best he's been in years, as well as he portrays this man who finds himself just in situations. He never plans to get into them, he just ends up there. The relationships between all the characters is wonderful, and they all give amazing performances. Now, the big highlight about this movie was the de-aging, and it's some of the best I've ever seen. But also, in comparison with that, the aging of the characters is terrific too. If you haven't watched The Irishman yet, you need to get on it. I'm pretty sure most of you, the film fanatic community out there, have already checked it out, but in case you haven't, it is well worth your time. So there we have it, 10 great movies to keep you busy during this festive period. I hope you find something there that you want to check out, something that you enjoy, and I will see you next month on Man vs. Film.